over, right?
Hey, Nicola, how's it going?
Yeah, really good. Thanks. How's everything
Got a bit of
with
a gloomy
you?
day here, but I'm gonna make it. Just gotta power through.
Yeah. First day of spring tomorrow,
Thank goodness.
official.
What do you want to talk about today?
Yeah. Well, I think we need to talk about this very topical event that happened last week with Gwyneth Paltrow that has just been taken social media by storm. Yeah, lots and lots of chat about that. And I find the whole thing, really fascinating for lots of different reasons. So I thought, talking about real health, real lives, that's a really good thing for us to explore today if you fancy
100%.
chatting about that.
I think there's so many reasons to talk about that. And funny enough, pretty much none of the reasons in my mind have anything to do with Gwyneth Paltrow herself. And they have a lot more to do with why this is even a thing. I think that it gets really at the core of this comparison trap that we get ourselves into, especially as women. I don't know about you, but like it is one of, I don't want to use the word disheartening, but I guess it's one of my biggest goals as a health coach is to help my clients switch their perspective from, I want to look like her, to how do I become the best version of myself? And I think that this whole situation with Gwyneth Paltrow really gets at that, because the girl's built a certain way, I'm built a certain way. I mean, 20 years in the modeling industry, I can tell you, like, people are built a certain way, and then there's all this behind the scenes crazy Hollywood stuff that goes on too. So it's like, how do you get your clients to say, I want to be the best version of me, and stop saying, I want to look like her, and take advice from her? Like, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, that's why a lot of women are the way that they are, isn't it? Because we've grown up, believing that we should look like this kind of Hollywood perfection. And as you say, so much of that isn't based on normality either. Lots of these people who are in the industry like that, have reached the levels of success they have, often because of the way they look, and thankfully that has started to change and evolve, and we've seen a lot more diversity. But certainly, when I grew up, everyone who was famous had that same kind of look. I was a teenager in the days of Kate Moss and Naomi Campbell and, all of those initial supermodels, Elle Macpherson, who just had that very particular build. But because of that, and that's all you were seeing, it made you think you had to look the same to be normal and to be attractive and feminine and worthy and all of that. So yeah, that, we're still unfortunately so deeply entrenched in this like comparison way of being, aren't we? And I definitely find that as well in my community and with clients, that quite often that's the thing that's driving them to the goals that they've initially got, because them goals, as I'm sure you find, often change when they realise that that isn't really what they want for themselves in their life. But, so many women are coming feeling absolutely, utterly crap about themselves, and like, they're failing because they don't look like these people who they hold up on a pedestal and think are, the idea of perfection. So yeah, I mean, there's so much obviously we could talk about with it, and I liked what you said about, it's not really about Gwyneth. Yes, lots of people are beating her up because they feel like, she has a position of authority when it comes to wellness because of Goop and the years that she's ran that business. And I guess, that is a part of it. But yeah, for me, I think it was just, how many people are on both sides of the fence about what she was talking about, and really getting into the nitty gritty of the way that she shared a diet and a wellness tips. That was the question she was asked, was, what does wellness look like for you these days? And then she talked about food, and surely wellness is about so much more than the food and, you know, the quality or calorie content, whichever way you look at it. You know, it's so much more than that, isn't it?
I want to like zoom in on two words that you just said. What does wellness look like for you? Right? And that's where I'm like, we need to just zoom out a little bit here, because nobody knows the context of her life. And yes, she has a responsibility to say that, to say like, this is what's right for me. This probably might not be right for you. But that's what I like to get my clients to focus on when we very first start working together, is like, what is your, like, I like to call it your mission statement for your life right now. What do you want your life to like look like? And you even said something a little bit similar to that a minute ago. Because you know, if it's being able to be active and fit and go on adventures, you know, your life is going to look very different than if you know, just came out of maybe a big surgery or something like that, and you need to like recover and you need to go about things slowly. And it might look totally different if you're like, I want to run Spartan races and I want to, you know, like really be strong and see what I'm capable of. Like, all of those things are going to require different things for you, which is why you can't look at other people in their lanes and say, oh, I want to look like her. I want to. What do you want to be capable of? What do you want to actively do in your life? And I think that that's where we need to start, not I want to look like her. Drives me crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it is about the way you want to feel. And I truly believe that when you get clear on how you want to feel and you start to take care of yourself to make that happen for you, then you build that self-love and you like the way that you look. You hopefully love the way that you look. And, you know, just knowing that you're taking steps to build a healthy mind and body become, you know, the tools and the route to that self-worth and self-belief, so that it's no longer about, well, I have to do this because that's, you know, the way that I'll achieve that look, and that's what will then equal health and happiness. And I think a lot of the things that I've seen are, you know, there's some very interesting TikToks out there and reels and opinions on it, but so much of it is really, like, really focusing on, you know, this whole amount of food she eats and the diet and so on. But I think, like you mentioned, there's so much more to what she said about, you know, wellness is unique for everybody, and, you know, what works for her and what's important for her is up to her. Yeah, maybe because of, you know, the position she was in, I think she could have worded it differently, because now she's come out saying, you know, I don't eat like that every day. That's something that I do to help, you know, with some ongoing problems I've had, including inflammation and long COVID symptoms, which you know, I absolutely get. And I'm a coach who's very clear about the values I have, but also at the same time that I don't condemn anybody's choice of diet. You know, if someone, for example, was eating 100% ultra high processed foods, I'd have a point of view on it about what it's going to do to them, and I'd educate them on it and try and support them to see why other foods are going to be much more beneficial all around to their health. But, you know, we're all individual, and sometimes people have things going on in their life, which means that the diet isn't something they can look at right now. That, I think we might have touched on this last week, you know, that you're going to be at different stages and seasons of your life, and sometimes you've only got the capacity to focus on certain things. And so, yeah, it's just incredible, the conversation that's opened up around it, and especially around diet culture as well.
Yeah, and I think that I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but for me, that's one of the reasons I believe so much in what you and I are doing, because context is so important, and support on your individual journey is so important. So even though we have these underlying, you know, fitness and nutrition principles that for 95% of people, probably, you know, if you're looking at that curve, if you're talking about statistics here, 95% of people are going to fall into those nutrition principles. But you need those individualized approaches, and you need somebody who understands how to take the information and apply it to your life and your goals and your health restrictions and all of the things that are important to you to help you, you know, on your personal journey, not on Gwyneth Paltrow's journey, right? So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. I'm here to help
exactly.
people on their journey. I know you are too. And yeah, let's just hope there's more of that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think what I would say to someone, if you have seen it and then you think, oh God, now I've got to eat bone broth every day and only have vegetables, like that isn't the
Right.
real world. Even making bone broth in itself is a hugely time consuming and can be quite expensive thing to do if you're doing it, to the extent that I'm sure she has it. But she won't be making that. She has a staff, she's got people who are there, and so there's all of that side of it as well. And she isn't saying that that's the route to take to be healthy and to be like her. She's just saying that that's something in her toolbox that she uses. She didn't make it clear in the clip that was shared anyway, which has had over 3 million views on TikTok and created so much media content. She isn't saying that that's, how she lives every day and that that's what she has to do to maintain her weight or anything. That's her lifestyle choice. And I guess that's kind of what we're trying to get across here, isn't it? It's your life, it's your choice. It's about being informed, knowing how you want to feel. Like you say, I love the mission statement, having your own goals and value for the mission you've got for your life, and then you find your own steps to make that happen and be
Not
successful
falling
with it.
for the Hollywood trap, where you take all these things out of, all the plastic surgeries, all of the, different, millions of things that they engage in every single day to look the way they do. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, who has a hot sauna in half an hour to go in the sauna? I'm sure she said she goes in the sauna, scrubs, and then back in the sauna. I mean, that's just not the real world for so many of us. Even if we had a sauna, I'm sure nobody has time every day to do an hour workout and
right.
then a half an hour sauna, then a scrub. Yeah, be
Yeah.
entertained by it and not take it at the face value that it has
And
been
I
taken
know we've
at.
gone over a little bit of time here, but I also think that that's what's so important about filling your feed, whatever feed that may be, with all different types of bodies and all different types of approaches, because you really start to see the diversity of what real existence looks like. And some people do naturally look really, thin and heroin chic, like they called it with the, the Kate Mosses and everything. And then, and most people don't, so if you get yourself a wide variety of people to look to for what healthy looks like, you're going to be less likely to fall into that comparison trap, I think.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good shout for someone who is struggling with their body and the way that they look. Definitely, we all have a choice. We're all adults. Choose who's in your feed and in your world and make it people who help you to feel the way you want to feel. And if it isn't working, you just delete them. It's as simple as that, because it's so easy to fall into that trap of, as we say, the comparisonitis, and that impacts your worth, and then that's really hard to dig back out of. So yeah, definitely curate a feed that helps you to feel as good as you want to feel.
Well, thank you for this chat, Nicola. I think it's such an important thing.
Thank you.
And, I have to practice it myself too. So here's to a week of practicing no self-comparison.
Definitely, me too. Thanks, Heidi. We'll speak next week. Bye. Bye.